Obi is the most talked about presidential candidate. Why is it so? Mercy Abang asks. A well-known Nigerian journalist, Mercy Abang, has asked a very important question so as to know the reason why the Labour Party's presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, is the most talked about presidential candidate in the forthcoming presidential election. Since the day Peter Obi left the PDP for Labour Party and eventually emerged as the Labour Party's presidential candidate, he has been the most talked about presidential candidate. While some are busy praising him, others are busy attacking and criticizing him. While speaking, Mercy Abang made it known that the former Anambra State governor is the most talked about presidential candidate in the forthcoming 2023 election in Nigeria. She went on and asked to know the reason why most people are talking about him. Based on what Mercy Abang has said here, I really think that she is right. Since Peter Obi emerged as the Labour Party's presidential candidate, a day has never passed without people talking about him. Be it as it may, we have to wait till next year so as to know what will eventually happen. There are several theories as to why people would think this way. I mean, some people have also gone to the extent of even saying that this whole movement is, or this whole Peter Obi emergence is divine. And people have their rights and they're entitled to think of what they want. If you think of this logically and just think of the steps he's taking after he was, serving his second term as governor of Anambra State, before he finished the last year, he was impeached. And that year after he started going for multiple conventions, going for multiple conferences, and that is where his popularity really began. I think for me, doing research about Peter Obi, it wasn't necessary that I had to go to his recent interviews or see him in the news, and I actually went back to those conferences and those conventions that he talked about his time as president, talked about management of funds, talked about the integrity and the character of leaders that he worked with. And that was where I think that in itself was the selling point personally I think is a selling point for Peter Obi. If you really want to get to know him, his character, go watch those videos. And I think you will actually get to know who he is. And also there also and this is where, you can say his popularity really began. But given the fact that there are also other options, as Le Faratimi would say, he thinks the only candidates there are two, and it's Omale Sowore and Peter Obi. But then it's not like, Sowore that had a phase or like a time where he really connected with the youth of Nigeria. Now it seems like the majority of the youth have now gone onto the Peter Obi flock, which you can't usually say is a bad thing. It's just, as Faratimi would say, Nigerians are going through a leadership recruitment process, and that is really what this elections, that's really what it is. And I think if we put ourselves in a position where we are trying to employ somebody to fix our problems, we will set the standards of what we want, of where we want to go, and the job description that will fit that role of who can get us there. And I think Peter Obi has marketed himself and has promoted himself in those exact parameters, where he says what Nigeria needs is a specialist, and he says, here I am. It is as simple as that. So yeah, obviously with his emergence and with his popularity, I think Nigerians want solutions. Gone are the days where we're looking for charisma, we're looking for your manifesto, yes, the campaigns will come and we will get to see the process of who these individuals are as candidates. We will fully get to see their extent and their full capacity. However, Nigerians have really gone past the stage of being serenaded or convinced to vote for one over another. Things were bad, and then Buhari came and amplified things and made it worse. So I think Nigerians have just gone past the point. We don't need to be serenaded. I don't even think we've. I mean, I was an advocate for this for a public debate, I mean presidential debate. Right now, given the options that we have, and I don't think Nigerians have had the luxury of having competent options to choose from. We really had to choose the lesser of two evils in most cases from since 1999. So it's a thing where Nigerians don't need to be serenaded or convinced or influenced. That's why it's like, if you understand the problems of your country, nobody needs to tell you what candidate to go for. And that is why there, in these times, there will be clashes. So I think with Peter Obi, it's more majorly the youth who have been seeking for change, who I think to a large extent are very much exposed to what Nigeria could be because they've also seen what other countries are like. And just the fact that things are wrong and we're not going to stand for it. It's as simple as that. So they also knowing and being affected. You go to school, but then you then step back into the society, you step back into the real system where you live, your reality, you know. I think it's very real to the Nigerian youth. The Nigerian life is real to the Nigerian youth, very, very real, and they're willing to change it. It's as simple as that. And whoever they see fit is best to do that. Simple. Because it also takes the action of the youth themselves to choose somebody. And maybe it hasn't necessarily been that they've been inactive. It's just been that a candidate who is willing, who is ready, and fits perfectly into the goals and what the youth want is just a perfect lock and key. Makes sense. And so that is why Peter Obi doesn't even have to push for the youth to get their PVCs. They themselves know what is right, and they know that for us to change things, if we don't want to go through the war in the route of clashing or war, electorally the power that we have is to get PVCs. Again, I think this also proves to the Nigerian youth that they do know what they want. They just haven't found the person that would fit exactly, especially given the time of how the country is literally ruined. It's like, who's going to fix it? So I think Peter Obi, the support of Peter Obi really doesn't necessarily show anything about him. It shows more on the mindset of the youth and their proactivity and their willingness to facilitate change. Because they found someone they want to recruit, they're doing the necessary steps on their end to make sure it happens. So yes, I wouldn't want to, not that I'm not trying to undermine Peter Obi in whatever kind of way, but what I'm saying is also he has to play his part. If he did not go to Labour Party, he most likely would have settled for vice president under the PDP. So he also made a strategy, he took a strategic position. At the end of the day, the decisions that we make during this time will be crucial to the outcome that we get. So I think it's not necessarily a Peter Obi seeing. It's more like the youth have seen what they want and they're going for it no matter what. So it's more reflection of the youth pushing and trying to facilitate the change that they want to see in their country. So this is more a reflection of the youth than Peter Obi, in my personal opinion. Put what you think, and don't forget to like and subscribe.